I'm Niels Pudewils. I come from Germany and live nearby Frankfurt, and I work here in Saudi Arabia as a landscape architect since 13 years. Initially, it was curiosity, and it still is curiosity about the country. And a friend of mine asked me if I'm interested in to support the office he is working in as a landscape architect, and that's what I'm doing until today. I did not know much about Saudi Arabia. Of course, I checked a little bit about, or investigated a little bit about the size, but in Germany these days there was not so much information. So I was teased from my colleagues with huge 4x4 vehicles and some opportunities to have to go out to the desert, do some dune bashing there, and working on large-scale projects with huge excavators and bulldozers, doing some landscaping, which involves heavy machinery due to the earthworks. But all over, it sounded to me quite interesting, so I took the opportunity to go here. My first impression was I arrived here and all I knew was that I get picked up from a person I do not know. And I arrived in a country which I did not know before. I knew that I will be somewhere in a hotel, and I arrived very late night, so I did not see much. And on the next day I found myself in a complete new environment. I was picked up from my colleague and was introduced to the site, and I was very excited, and of course I was a little, how do you say, not afraid, but it was a mixture between curiosity and excitement, and going to the site and seeing the construction site where I was supposed to work for the first time, and the new environment, that was really, I was full of impressions the first 2 weeks about that new environment, which I did not understand so far. Where am I in now? All I knew is I need to take care about the design. I have to implement it on site, and I was, let's say, the representative of the client. Of course, I was in close contact at all time with the client, and I coordinated all aspects of the design with the site team. This was a team of engineers. We were around about 75 engineers, all from different countries all over the world, and I was the only European, or let's say Westerner, among a team of engineers, and that was really cool. It was really fun to get in touch with all the different mentalities, to understand their background, to understand their way of thinking. The key, it's quite universal from my point of view. The most important aspect from my side, which is respect, mutual respect, and never to lose the respect. Persons you meet the first time, they very often have a completely different background which you do not know, or which I'm not aware of. So respect by every means. It doesn't matter for me if it is an engineer, a prince, a king, or a simple worker on site. So my task and my duty is to respect everybody. initially, during my first years, I did not have much chance to go around Saudi Arabia. And after 12 years, finally, I got the opportunity to travel around Saudi Arabia for 3 weeks. But, the reason was I did not want to travel alone, and so it took me a while to convince a friend of mine to travel together with me. I've been in the Oman previously with him, so I wanted to travel with him together through Saudi Arabia, and that's what we did. So we made a full round trip, a road trip, around 6,000 kilometers in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. So we started from Riyadh to Al Ula. From Al Ula we went up to Tabuk via Wadi Disa, and from there, from Tabuk, we went up to Hail, and then we drove to the coast of the Red Sea, and we drove all along the Red Sea down to Medina. From Medina we went to the Khyber volcanic area. That was quite interesting, and from the volcanic area we went down to Jeddah, from Jeddah to Tabuk. On the way to Al Ula, 80 kilometers away from Hail and 150 kilometers before Al Ula, I had a failure in the power strain of the car, and oil was leaking out of the car like hell. So I had to stop immediately the car. And luckily the car did not burn down completely, because the oil was dropping on the exhaust. And then the most remarkable moment was I took my mobile phone and discovered I have 4G. Okay, so that means I don't have an issue at all, because I can make calls as much as I like. And that's what I did. I made a couple of calls until I managed to get a new car in the middle of the desert, and the rental company made an excellent job to bring me a car after 16 hours from a city 600 kilometers away from the spot I've been. Then we went back to Riyadh, and that was a very impressive journey, and impressive by the scale of the country, and also about the beauty of the country, which is not visible on the first sight. As a landscape architect, I'm very much used to read landscape and the genesis of the landscape, how it developed, from where it comes from, which tectonic processes are underlying the landscape. So you have the sea level, then you have the granite subbase elevated, exposed somewhere. Then some volcanoes penetrated the limestone and covered the landscape over square kilometers with basalt. And to drive through these landscapes for hours. Of course, I visited the National Museum and the Masmak Palace. That's a must-see, a must-do in Riyadh. Of course, I visited all these places, and now, since I saw almost a lot, not all, but a lot of places in Riyadh, I make bigger circles, and I drive down to the Pigeon Towers, and the edge of the world is also a very common thing. Whenever a friend comes or a new colleague arrives, the first thing I want to do is show them the edge of the world, and there you can see the beauty of the landscape, the stunning width of the landscape, the scale of the landscape. The capital city, it developed, and the speed of development is also it's breathtaking, and it's basically it's loud, vibrant, very dynamic, very lively, and evolving. It's like Riyadh, the garden city, and to see that the city itself gets greener and greener, that's also a development which I appreciate very much. Each month what you can do here in Riyadh, and of course, since I like to listen to electronic music, the Soundstorm Festival I visited twice already, and if I go there for 3 days. So I take the maximum out of it and enjoy it to the max, to say it with the words of a friend of mine. The free time or spare time is very limited, since I'm very dedicated to the projects and also to support our clients. So whenever I have the chance, I like to go out to the desert, to some places which I investigate before, and I take to go there with some friends, preparing a barbecue, having a coffee. Have a sleepover in the desert, enjoying the stars above me while sleeping on the back of my pickup. That's something which grounds me and relieves me from all the stressful moments during the week. And after that, I feel refreshed, almost like it feels like a rebirth. Being out in the desert, I share my experiences from the desert trips, and also the experience which I have with the people I'm working with, and also the let's say the social environment I'm in. So, and I let everybody know how fast the city and the society develops, and develops in a way which is stunning. It opens up in comparison to the days on my arrival. Coffee moments and the having a tea moments, that's quite similar, because having a coffee and having a tea, that brings people together. You had to take a moment to take a breath, and that's it's the same in Germany and like in Saudi Arabia. It's the experience of the hospitality in Saudi Arabia. So that's a very nice thing about the Saudi culture. Whenever you go to a meeting and you get a cover, you get a date, and that's such a nice, pleasant gesture that you feel welcome. Even to the most serious meetings, you always have a cover and a date. It's a Saudi Lebanese cuisine which I try, and I think the haroof, that's one of my most favorite dishes. I think it's a Saudi dish as well, and so having the lamb with rice, with the oriental spices, that's I only eat that here in Saudi Arabia. In Germany I cannot find it. The taste is really special here. My typical day starts with a couple of phone calls, calling my team on site, and have a couple of calls to the design team, which works remotely, partly as well in our office in Riyadh, to find out whether there are some aspects we need, which requires clarification and input from my side, since I'm the translator between the client's thoughts and the team, and I have to translate what the client wants to the team in order to bring it into a report or a presentation, which brings the project further and brings it closer to implementation. My career started 22 years ago. I worked for a couple of years in Germany for an office developing private gardens in various scales, from a couple of square meters up to hectares, almost like park-like gardens, and also public projects. And after 7 years, I decided to move on. And I did some additional study, more in relation to the international landscaping, and these studies brought me basically to Saudi Arabia, and so I started to think in much bigger scales, and until now I have no reason to leave Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is so dynamic and vibrant, and the projects are so interesting, and I like to continue as much as I can and as much as I'm allowed to. Well, there are tough moments, of course, if you work abroad, and so if your children wants to see you, wants to play with you, of course, that was a tough decision, and it's always a tough decision to leave the family and to leave my two lovely daughters. To come over that and to keep in touch with my family and my daughters, I use the modern technologies like video calls, messages, and so we stay in touch, and that's the way to stay in touch with the family. So the plants are so grown up, they are so large. I very well remember the days, it's like 6 years ago, where we planted them, and now you can see it's so lush green, everything beautiful, it's amazing. So, and there's another spot you can see. This is our greenhouse, so I will harvest some fruits there and will maintain the plants a little bit. I haven't been there for a long time. Maybe there's something to harvest, but anyway, there will be some weeds. And now I will start working, so see you soon. Bye bye. I will miss definitely the scale of the landscape, the beauty of the landscape, the width of the landscape, the very wide, unobstructed views in the landscape, even if that means that you have to drive for hours through this same landscape. In Europe, you don't have that. You have cities, it's a very densely populated, and you don't have that here in Saudi Arabia. And that's something which is very nice. I like that very much, that you have space. Being on the TV today, that's a complete new experience for me, and it's again a very remarkable experience as well, and I enjoyed the full day very much together with you and your team. You all were very supportive and also very dedicated, and to see that dedication which is in your team and your supporting team, it's a very nice and pleasant experience. A very important message I would like to send is to my wife and to my family, is that without you and I would not be here, and without your support I could not do what I'm doing right now. There's a slogan which I like very much. It's Visit Saudi Arabia. Komm nach Saudi-Arabien.